This is a very beautiful bakery studio. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. And there's no way that you're going to be baking cakes in this place that will not come out amazing. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma. So we're going to get back into the interview. And so with all the years of experience you've had, over 20 years in the industry now, and if you were going to maybe start over again with all the lessons that you've learned over the years, what would you do differently?
I had to take a deep breath. I had to take a deep breath because, to be honest with you, I wouldn't change the journey. I wouldn't. Because that journey made me who I am. That journey birthed this place. This place we're in is a decade dream. There's some things that are in here that I probably bought 8 years ago. I'm telling you, my first set of hand mixers, I knew I wanted to train. I wanted to bring people around me, and I probably bought them from Amazon 10 years ago. I must have bought 10, but it remains just 4 that have survived till now. There's some tools that I bought at that time that we now had to put here as well. I can not change anything, honestly. Those things that I'm not happy about or stressed me out are honestly the things that made me who I am today.
So if those challenges were not there, most likely will not be here today.
I'm very, very sure they will not be here today. If there's anything I wish, to be honest, that I probably took advantage of was learning and having good mentors and taking the business side of the business a lot more seriously. So apart from all the drama and the challenges, if I had done that earlier and not tried to figure things out myself, it wouldn't have taken longer for me to figure things out. It says if you want to go somewhere, go with someone who knows where they're going. So for the longest time, yes, we were showcasing ourselves at this beautiful bakery, but I honestly didn't know what I was doing until I went back to that education that taught me how to truly manage not just my people, myself, the business as a whole, the brand. So I wish I had done that sooner.
Okay, thank you. And you just said something that I want you to kind of expatiate on, because I think there are a lot of bakers who are at this place. You just mentioned that for years you were showcasing lots of cakes, but you were not really getting the business side. And I think that we have that quite common, because one thing I know is a lot of bakers today start from passion. They're very passionate about baking, they enjoy baking. And so that's how I baked this cake for someone, they liked it, and then the next one comes. And so they never really focus on the business.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can kind of expatiate on that, because I think a lot of people need to hear that part of the story.
Okay. I will start by saying that before a cake business can thrive, the cake business owner must actually know what she is doing. So cake business doesn't start from the business itself, it starts from the owner, because everything rises and falls on leadership. And the cake business owner should first and foremost know, what kind of bakery do I want to run in this season of my life? What is not just sustainable, but what is realistic? So take, for instance, a bakery business owner that runs a home-based bakery that has just had a baby. Of course, for some time, she has to close the bakery. What we see is a baker in that season of her life closing the bakery, but being depressed that she is not making money because she has closed her bakery. The truth of the matter is you're doing something important to you. You're birthing life, and that life needs you. You should be okay that in this season of my life, while I am about to have a baby, I don't need to have another. But before that season came, how have you been planning ahead? So that not just the business, if you honestly have to close up for that period, have you done a circulation to your clientele? All right, this bakery will be closed for XYZ amount. We don't have our specialty cakes available. This is what is available. And if your bakery will be closing, this bakery will be closed between blah, 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 to attend to some personal needs. Do you understand? We cannot wait to serve you when we come back. All right, that's communication. That's responsible communication. And you are happy that even if you see everybody thriving and everyone is talking about how much they made that month, you are comfortable. See that perspective. But this thing we talk about in cake business always must start with the owner. So if there's an owner who is now embittered by the fact that she has gone to birth life and she's not making money, that's not a good way of thinking. The other way that I just explained gives you more gratitude. You're at peace. You can take time, I would not lie to you, the season where I was having my children, the times I would go on maternity leaves, those periods were the times that literally birthed the dainty affairs people see now. All right, because I wasn't doing anything. I was able to think, reorganize things at the level I knew at the time, by the way. Do you understand? And when I came back, I was fired up. I was ready. In fact, it was when I had my last child, my second to the last child. I came back and we did this event called Beauty Meets Bakery. I've forgotten the name, but it was such a huge event at the time. We held it at Protea Hotel. It was fantastic, like 10 years ago. My daughter was barely a baby, but I came back so full of energy that I wanted to pour it, so I did an exhibition. What did that exhibition do? People who had forgotten us, they suddenly saw this larger-than-life pictorial of, ooh, this cake business. They are showcasing beautiful cakes. They're showcasing beautiful women carrying cakes. It was done in an opulent environment. There was beautiful snacks, pastries, cakes, drinks. It was a free event. So a lot of people came. And we use that media from that event to reposition us again that, oh, we're back and we're better. Do you understand? So, I mean, there's just so much to talk about when it comes to this question you have just asked me. But the truth of the matter is you need to know exactly what season you are in your life and be okay with it. If you don't have a support system, you can't do everything you want to do. You can't. If your children are toddlers, you can't work as if, and that's a problem. We now have bakers who their children are toddlers, and it's the ladies that have to do the school runs. They literally have to bake within the house, and that's because of that they're not planning properly. Children will grow up. It won't be like that forever. In that season where you have toddlers, what quick jobs can you do? It's not everyone that needs to bake. Baking a fondant cake will take you what? At most 8 hours. Baking and decorating a buttercream cake or a dessert will take you at most 3 hours. Baking cupcakes on ice cupcakes will take you literally an hour. What if you decided that your bakery was that season when you have young children? Your children are just going to, your bakery is best known for that quick. Do you know how much they sell cupcakes? 250 naira. Let's even say the cheapest type of cupcakes. 250 times 100 people in a day. You now find a store to keep those 250 cakes. 100 cupcakes, that's 250,000. Multiply that. What am I saying? Is it 25 or 25,000 in one particular store? That's 250. Okay, and you now decide that you're going to have that amount of cake in different places in a week. Multiply that. Can you make that amount on one fondant cake? No. And what did it take you? You just stood up, mixed cupcakes, put it in the freezer, or get someone. See, this our work is repetition. You don't have to be the one baking the cupcakes. That means you've taught somebody to make it for you. So I think we're all busy trying to run somebody else's race. A lot of bakers, like I always mentioned, they are not supposed to be owning or running their own businesses yet. I didn't just start running a business. I also worked with other people. I worked in a formal environment. I worked with an airline, Virgin Atlantic Airways, and I was there for about 5 years. I learned how to talk to customers. I learned how to be present. I learned how to speak responsibly. I learned how to take care of a certain type of customer base. I cannot take away that period from my journey, because even though it didn't teach me how to run a business, it taught me a lot about customer care and managing people. Customers, by the way, not staff. Do you get? So it's all about knowing that there is a season you are in your life at the moment, and that season will not remain. So if you are in the season of, you haven't married, you can do 100 orders, you can use that time to build your business. But as you build your business, build people too who can help you, so that when you get married and start having the kids, there's no deliberate support around you to carry the business. And if you didn't know that, and you've gotten to the season where you are now in it, you are married, you have young children, and you're struggling, think about it. You honestly don't have to do all the fondant orders. The thing about this cake business is your customers will take you as you are. Whatever you present to them is what they will ask for. And if they ask you for something you are not doing or don't have the capacity to do, be honest with yourself enough to say, you know what, we don't do this. This is what we do. And of course, as a baker, don't be an island. Have a community of bakery friends or bake sisters or baking brothers that you can always call. Oh, can you do this for me? How much will you do it? Oh, I will charge this amount. Okay, you put your markup, give it to the customer. Everybody's happy. So there's just a very myopic lens that I see in the industry. And unfortunately, bakers are just content with going to do, baking masterclass. Oh, how to design cake. Oh, how to do this. They are not actually going to do network events. They're not learning how to build people. They're not learning how to do businesses. They're not learning mentorship, or they're not involving themselves in mentorship environments that is going to grow them and just hold them by the hand. So that's the issue. That's the issue largely and widely. How to do now is called from coats. Can I get that? From coats.
Thank you so much. This has been so insightful. And my next question is from what you've talked about, and it's about how creating systems. So if there's a baker now who is watching this and asking, okay, I don't know, where do I even start from when it comes to creating system in my bakery? I don't know what is it, what should do, what this is. What's the first thing you think someone who wants to walk that part, what's the first thing you think they should do?
So the first thing the baker to do, the first thing I always advise is starting with your goal. What is your goal in this season as a cake business owner? You're not going to be like that forever. If you start as a home-based bakery and you want to move your business into a retail store, that could be a goal, but you have started out as a home-based baker. So I'm a big believer of low-hanging fruits. I can't afford a storefront. And by the way, it's not every storefront that is making a profit. All right? So let's just even paint that, yes. So if you're in your home running your cake business and you now have a goal, my goal as a cake business owner is to make XYZ amount of cakes, treats, pastries, I don't know what it is you're good at, and you write it down. Remember, you are specific now, this amount on a weekly basis. And my customer base should largely be working class women. My customer base should largely be working class women. Number one, you identified what you want to do. You've also identified who your customer is, right? Now, beyond identifying who your customer is, you now need to dig deeper. Are your customer base the type that are hanging online? They're on Instagram. Or your customer base are in the office, sitting down. They don't have time for the phone. And if they do have time for the phone, it's probably weekends. Okay. Is the customer base you have a fit farm? They are conscious about taking treats, but still staying within the limits of what their health plan is. Now, those kind of identification helps you to know exactly what to do. You shouldn't just first and foremost go down and say, I'm making cakes. So you've identified your strength, which is what you do. Now, the people who need you. So what you have just done now is you have put one dot and one dot. You now need to connect that dot. So how do you connect these two dots? Number one, because you know your operations will now be largely around baking a certain type of cakes, you now begin to set the motion on buying those type of ingredients and creating those type of cakes. All right, now I'm going right down to the foundation. You've never baked before. All right, so you are coming out clean. What happens is bakers start baking for everybody, and all of a sudden they become busy and they become overwhelmed. Okay, but I always say before you become overwhelmed, plan. So you've decided you're going to make this type of products. You have to get off your back and actually make those products. And as you make them, curate them. Take meaningful photos. Give them proper names. Okay? Describe them. Not a long episode. Describe them in a way whereby the audience you want will see it and be connected with it and want to experience it. Okay? So take, for instance, you've decided to make cakes for kids. And you've just made, what cartoon is trending now?
Cocomello, always trending.
Okay, well, you decide to make that, cake, and you bake it. Your description should also deliberately mention that this is the type of cake, because this will also help in your search engine optimization. You're not going to bake that cake and just leave it in your phone. You're actually going to go to your online space, whether it's social media, YouTube, whatever. I mean, if you want to be extreme and actually document what you're doing, the better. Because that's what quickly attracts people. Moving things attract people vis-a-vis just still images. So if you're actually curating all those or creating those products and you decide to do a video of actually putting it together, from sourcing the product to baking, to decorating, to boxing, to sending it off for delivery. Those are just one cake. Look at the levels of ideas you've brought for your marketing. Do you know if you put that out for the world to see, people will respond. But if people respond, what are they responding to? So let's do a case study. You've done all these things I've said. You now have these beautiful pictures of the work you do. You now put on the online space. And people see it and they try to reach you. There's a phone number there, right? They call the phone number and you're not prepared to answer them. Sorry ma, what do you want? That's wrong. So the little systems you can put in place is organizing yourself. By, yes, you have done all those levels of marketing you need to do for yourself. You put them in a portfolio and you put them out in a befitting way for them. Don't be careless. There's so many people doing what you're doing. Respect what you're doing enough to do it properly and showcase it. And once you showcase it, put your caption, write the story, your call to action, how you want people to reach you. And if they finally go on that journey to reach you, is your response flat? When they finally reach you either by WhatsApp, does it take you the whole day before you respond? Or when they finally reach you, you say, yes, how can I help you? Or they call you, yes, you are in the middle of baking a cake and you are tired. Your child is crying, mommy, mommy. The customer calls you and they are now hearing a baby crying. How do you think the customer you've labored to attract will feel? So again, this structure is understanding what will happen, the ripple effect that comes through the actions you take and don't take. So once you plan ahead that, oh, someone is going to call me, how do I want them to reach me after they actually like this cake? Are they coming to me via WhatsApp? If they are coming to me via WhatsApp, what's the response they will see? Have we told them, oh, thank you for contacting us. We haven't responded because we may be busy, but bear with us. We'll respond to you as soon as we can. And once you're ready, hi, my name is Lolade. So sorry to keep you waiting. What would you like, please? All right. And the customer first says, oh, why is it taking you so long to respond? Oh, I apologize. There were other things we were working on, but we're ready to sort your order. And the customer now says, I want a cake. You can't now just go MIA. You go again. Your mission should be at least 15 minutes. Finish up with the customer. You need to be able to ask some questions once the customer has said, oh, go ahead, send me your account number. That's what they want. They just want to pay. But for you, the baker, it's not just about the money. You need some information that would allow the process be seamless, right? All right, we're going to send you your invoice shortly. We're going to send you your invoice shortly. But can you give us the answers to these questions? What's your name? All right. What's the date of delivery? What would you like us to write on this cake? What's your phone number? On the day we deliver, if you're not available, who is more likely to pick up your call? What's the person's phone number? Ask any question that you don't have to come back to the customer every time. Excuse me, ma, we didn't ask you for what to write on the cake. No, get all that information. Once they have sent that information to, on your own side as a cake business, you should be responsible enough to have a documentation process that documents what every customer that comes to you wants. Invest in it. If you're still wasting time, you will be on something like an Excel sheet. But if you're a lot more deliberate, you should go on apps or softwares for cake businesses that all you do is just type everything, and those things will actually generate the invoice for you. All right? So once you've gotten that information and you now send the customer a proper invoice, then they pay. If the customer comes back and says, can I pay half? No. Why can't I pay half? Well, that's how we run this business. Because everything we're going to use to produce your cake needs to be bought and used even before the cake is delivered to you. So get to a place where you are confident enough to respond to your customer. Oh, and the customer says, how am I getting this cake? Oh, we'll be delivering it to you at this cost. Oh, why is your delivery? Well, we are just cake makers. We have connection with delivery services who we know can deliver your cake in the right order. And if the customer says, no, it's too much, I'll come and pick up my cake myself, that's fine. But please note, we're not liable if anything happens to your cake if you pick it up. Finish. What have you done? You have positioned yourself as a serious cake business. Not everything the cake owner wants, you say yes, yes, yes. So we find that a lot of bakers are so disorganized, they are at the mercy of customers. And that in itself is a problem. While the customer is connecting with you, you are connecting with a lot of people. So imagine you're bending and breaking for every single person that calls you. You're going to suffer a burnout. So you be organized. What time can your customers call your official lines? What time do they go off? If you are responding to them, what is the system you are using to respond to them? And after you responded to them, what next? So let's take, for instance, this case study. The customer goes ahead, loves all these things you've told them, and goes ahead to pay. All right? There should be a booking system that makes you to know that this cake is going on XYZ day. Not that, hey, I've not done the cake on this day and it's a problem. All right? That in itself is structure. So is it that you are still writing them manually, which you shouldn't do? Right now, you should have embraced technology as a cake business owner. All right, there are loads of apps out there. You should do the research or invest in a mentorship program that will teach you what to do so that all your orders are systemized. So you click, you know what exactly is going, when it is going. And because you've asked your customer for all the information they've asked before, you wanted before, you don't need to call them. On the day of delivery, they get their cake and it comes back to you as respect. So you will now know that all you now need to organize is your internal operations, where you are managing how your operations are, your staff, who is doing what, when, what is kept where, why is it kept where, how you source your ingredients, when are ingredients supposed to come in, do you just receive ingredients, you don't check labelings, nobody inspects, is there someone who is manning your store, your storekeeper, are you keeping the right stock? Are you documenting for accounting purposes? There's just so much to look at that I honestly cannot finish in this few minutes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ma. And one of the things you said is also going to lead me to the next question, where you said people should invest in mentorship. And I know you offer a paid mentorship where you mentor bakers. I don't know if you can just tell us a little bit about it, because there are people who might say, I don't know how to go about this mentorship thing. I'm hearing about it, but I don't have access to it. But I don't know if you can tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, fantastic. As much as I would love to quickly mention that, we offer mentorship programs, I will say that There are other trainings a cake business owner must go out to learn. Number one, a cake business owner is going to do a lot of talking. And for some reason, cake business owners, a lot of us are introverts. We don't like to talk. I don't know why. I don't know why. So we always like hiding behind, and there's so much you can do and there's so much impact you can make if you are just behind the scenes. Honestly, there's a beautiful world of possibility out there that is waiting only if they hear you speak, hear your story. So if you think, oh, you're an introvert, go out and learn public speaking. If someone talks to you, asks you about your business, what are you going to say? You're just going to say, oh, I make cakes. That's very flat. All right? You have to learn other things outside baking business itself. You have to learn how to lead a team. Even if you're not an accountant, you have to know the basics of accounting. You need to know the basics of HR, right? These days, because of social media, you need to know how to curate, take photos of your work, take good videos. You need to know how to put a befitting caption. You need to speak a lot of grammar. And it's okay if you don't know how to do this, you must learn. All right, so it brings me back to your question. The beautiful thing about our mentorship program is very holistic. We teach all of these things. All right, because I am so passionate. In fact, part of our own mission as a cake business, of course, that part that says, oh, we bake and decorate beautiful cakes. The second part of our mission is targeted towards this audience where we inspire and raise excellent cake culture. So I teach people from my own experiences, and I had to learn everything from scratch. Today, there's so many places you can go. When we started, nobody wanted to tell you anything. There was so much secrecy. And because I found myself endeared to some things outside actual baking and decorating, I harnessed it. So when you come into our own mentorship program, all right, developed by a cake business owner for cake business owners. So it's like a football coach. You will get proper mentorship from a football coach, and if you want to play football, because he knows how, if he mentions a problem, he knows how to, or what to tell you to do. Unlike a life coach who is just going to probably teach you about life and how to do this and do this. But you can't go and meet your life coach and say, oh, the customer just complained about your cake. What should you do? Do you understand? So that's the beauty about the mentorship we run. And our mentorship is in time limited. We do it for about 3 to 4 months. But I don't just leave people high and dry. I always love to hold people by the hand. And for some reason, it's one of the greatest things I do, that we can come in, into that relationship, and no matter how, it just becomes bigger, I still have time, because we're all busy. I still create the time to connect with anyone that is part of the program, no matter how busy I am. All right? Because for me, that hand holding is very, very important.
Thank you. I'm very sure anyone watching this will be gleaning enough. I think you were born for this. Thank you. And so one question that I think that I really want to ask, because one of the things I know about systems is that you actually would need people. So I want to know, how do you handle staffing? One of the things I know you shared at the last conference was you train your people in-house, but how do you just handle staffing in general?
It is what it is with staffing. As a cake business owner, you're going to hire a lot of low-skilled workers, people who haven't gone to school. And it's okay. So first of all, realize that your work is first and foremost motivation. Because you need to take them from where they are desperate to actually being involved and catching the fire that you have. And so yes, you want them to do the work. A lot of people don't care, honestly, but if you really care that the people who are going to do this work for you need to represent you, and they've come from places that you haven't, a lot of them have come from desperate places. If someone can't afford to go to university, There's something that has made them not rich, and it affects them. All right? And with the level of education generally in Nigeria now, you just don't rely on what you have done in university if you do go to university. All right? When you even get the new school leavers, there's a certain level of training and retraining you need to do. So, first and foremost, understanding that you just don't bring people in your space and say, take, go and sieve the flour. Take, go and decorate the cake. That's even the last thing you will do. You're going to spend time letting them understand who you are, your personality, your drive. And then you will now begin to teach them. And you will teach them and not walk back. You will teach them and stand. Let them do it the way you have taught them, over and over and over and over again. Give them a working plan. Document everything for them. So they are constantly looking at that thing you have documented. And when you have finally seen over and over, not once, not twice, not thrice, that they have done it, and you leave them. Once you leave them, you also create a system whereby checks what they are doing. All right? So the admin staff gets the order and someone is baking and decorating. Someone needs to go and do the check. Did they do the right flavor? Did they write the right inscription? Is the cake ready? Is it the way the customer wants it? So something has to put people in check. And you reward that. All right? You reward extra effort. And where things haven't been properly done, and it's an honest mistake, correct? But if you see that this has become literally careless, they are constantly doing this, let it be obvious to everyone, not in a rude way, in a polite way, that every choice you make here has a consequence. We're either going to reprimand you, we're either going to suspend you, all right? We're either going to fine you, okay? Or we're either going to ask you to leave. Don't just say, oh, you did this yesterday. That's how you did it last week. Okay. Your staff will just know this woman just says anything. But it's clear. That means you need to have a manual. And that manual must have all your do's and don'ts on every level. And after that manual, at the back, there must be a contract that they will sign. Oh, I have read this. I understand this. So that way, even with all of this, would you still have problems? Yes, you will. We are human beings where we will still have these problems. But you should now have another written documentation that writes how you deal with each problem. So that there's uniformity. Oh, a staff came late. What do we do? What does it say in the book that we do? Oh, a staff broke something. What does it say that we do? Oh, a staff was rude. What does it say that we do? Not that anywhere belle face. No. All right? So having that in a lot of ways just makes you a lot more organized. And the good thing is that on our website, actually, we have templates that I've developed myself. So as far as standard of operations within a cake environment, for bakers, decorators, how the customer care should respond on WhatsApp, how to turn a conversation or an inquiry into an order. We've actually done all those work. Yes. Yeah, so we have the Dainty Affairs Bakery website, which is for people who want to eat cakes. And for the cake community, we have the Caking All the Way website. So where you go and you see all the information about how to run a cake business, the various classes we're doing, or the various templates that we have written out there for you.
All right, thank you so much. So when I called you last week, you said, oh, okay, let's do it next week because the children are going to be back in school.
Right.
And I just want to ask how you're able to balance everything, motherhood, business, being a wife, a friend, and everything that you do. How are you able to strike a balance? Beautiful question. I'm happy you asked this type of question. Before people just look at you and think, oh, you have it all together. The truth of the matter is we embrace support. Support is so critical. If you're going to do anything great, you need people who have your back on every level, in your home front, in your workspace. And even yourself, understand that you have some level of sacrifice that you're going to make.
in a couple of hours, I'm going to go and do school runs. So it's about planning. All right. That planning also has to do with the goals you have for yourself. If your plan is for you to put your kids in school bus, that's fine. But who is going to receive them in your home that you are comfortable with? Who is going to take care of them while you are away? And if you're the one picking them, you've left everything to show the children, guys, I've made this sacrifice. So I will just say it's about support. I can't do everything by myself. All right, so I invest in good relationships. I've gone past the stage where all I would do was just bake. I won't have a life outside the bakery. Right now, we invest in meaningful relationships. We call people, check up on them. So we're not just an island. And when we want to hire, we hire deliberately. And of course, we have the support of our immediate family as well. You know, I have my mom around me. I have, beautiful domestic staff. They are not all perfect. Even you are not perfect. Just make sure that whatever you want in your environment is what you have planned for. Don't play the blame game. If anything goes wrong, that shouldn't have gone wrong, think about how can I best sort it out? Or how can I best sort this out? It's about balancing. It's about making sacrifices. It's about good support. In the early days when I was growing my business and my children were toddlers, the support I had in that season of my life, I would be in the bakery for really long hours, all right? And once we got home, and we got home quite late, once we got home, if we got home late, I would make sure that before we got home, they had eaten, all right? So that when we get home, all they're doing is just taking a shower and going to bed. Some of that season, there were times that once I put them to bed, I will now get on my laptop and begin to do some official office paperwork that I couldn't do because my hand was inside cake and flour. And what I also did then was, in that season, I started to plan and document things a lot. All right? Because our cakewalk is the same. What you do day in, day out, it does not change. What changes is the name of the customer and maybe the height of the cake and the price. You're doing the same thing. So once you know you're doing the same thing, document it.
Thank you. I think this has been so insightful, and I'm really, really very happy that we got to do this with you, because some of the things that I had were not even things that I expected to hear. And for me, it's very enlightening and really encouraging. And I'm very sure that people will watch this and they'll be so encouraged and inspired to actually maybe, start or maybe even continue what they've been doing. So thank you so much for being here with me, and I'm very, very grateful. Thank you.
Lovely. It's been very exciting to be here to just hear your drive. I think we're cut from the same fabric. I love your passion. I love what you do. And I think there's a part of you that is really endeared to actually helping people become much more than what they're doing, which is brilliant. Well done.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm so sure this has been very insightful for you as you watch the session. I gained a whole lot of wisdom from this. And one of the things I'm going to be taking away is that as a business owner, you need to have resilience and grit, because there will always be challenges, but with resilience and grit, you can always pick yourself up. Thank you so much, and don't forget to share this with your friends, because they will also need this and be learning in this. And let's continue the conversation in the comment section. Tell us what you learned, and see you in the next episode. Thank you. Bye.
You should go on your apps or softwares.